Hello everybody, AOG Gaming here, back with another video on Dislyte. So, as everyone knows, people are asking why the game is dying, and it's because most of the people who are in love with this game don't actually listen to the real reviews. They just watch the content creators, and the ones who are left are the ones who have love for the game, so they don't really say many negative things about the game. They're mostly talking about the positive things. Also, that's just how they get content, which I think is the stupidest thing about YouTube, you know? Your video should be honest, straightforward, and should always convey whatever message you're trying to get through in the video. Whether that's just some review, some account lookouts, whether that's talking about patch notes or whatever you're doing on the video. I don't think it should just be talking about the good stuff because you want to get views. And that's all the Dislyte creators have been doing. Yes, some of them have been addressing the issues, but very, very small amounts. Like it's frustrating me to the point where it's like the reason these games don't look like they're dying is because the creators aren't really talking about it. Yes, they're talking about how the game is getting slightly worse and they're not really listening to us at all. But no YouTuber except for me is literally, well, actually I don't know about that. But there are no big YouTubers as far as I know that are literally making videos on how bad Dislyte is because they're trying to keep the game alive, and I think that's the wrong way to do it because it's just incentivizing the company to continue what they're doing because they're going to keep getting money and players anyway. Now, this person, I don't know where they got their counts for income and player base, but you're stupid. You didn't do your research properly. I'm sorry, but it's true. Now, I'm not trying to bully you or harass you in any way, shape, or form. You just didn't do your research right. Wherever you got that research from is not true. And he says, I've only seen slightly wrong choices that I'm sure they'll go back on if we tell them we don't like them. Are you fucking kidding me? This is why I think you're a retard. Because we've been talking to them for the last 10 fucking updates about what we wanted to change, and they haven't changed it. And you're saying that if we talk to them, they will listen. Just shut the fuck up and get out of here. Like, this is retarded. Like, people like this, it's why the game is still continuing. You're probably paying money for the game still, right? Firestorm 678. I'm not trying to bully you specifically. You don't have to give me your name. You don't have to even. I'm not gonna like do videos. Just like people who think this, you're probably still spending money on the game, which is why the revenue doesn't look as bad. And that sucks for everyone else because they're definitely not spending money because they know the devs won't listen if they're still making money. So it's just like why? And then this person over here, he's enjoying himself. And it's true. Like I wholeheartedly still enjoy the game, the basic aspects of it. But then I play it and realize any progress that I make does not matter. Because one, I don't have a Sean Pin. Two, I don't have a Trevor. Three, I don't have like Sienna or like Gaius or literally like half of the espers, Yun Chuan. Like I don't have all these other espers that are going to be super useful. And I do have other espers, but they're not R2 resonance. Like I have a few R2 resonance, two R3s, or actually three R3s now, and two R6s, which are the free R6s that you get. So it just goes to show that people aren't actually paying attention to the game. They're just mind numbly going through it. And like I said, people are sheep for pretty visuals. Sunderain, you're 100% in that category. You're just a sheep for pretty visuals without actually analyzing the game for what it is and realizing, yeah, it's a game, but games are meant to have fun. And that is not just short term, but long term. The problem with Dislyte is you can have fun short term, but long term, it's literally impossible. Because again, like creators have said, it becomes a whole nother chore keeping up with every single Esper that you need, every single Esper that can counter your team, all this shit, blah blah blah. And I mean that goes for most games, but this game is more problematic because they release a new goddamn multiple new Espers every update. This time they're releasing four. And again, like we said, we didn't care how many they released really. I do. Most people don't, which is the most stupidest shit that I've ever heard. Like, how more of a sheep can you be? Like, oh yeah, just keep releasing new content, more espers. It's like, are you a dumbass? Like, do you understand how the gacha works? The gacha works by how many espers there are in the pool. What happens when you add more fucking characters to a pool that is already diluted to the point where getting a single character costs tens of thousands of dollars? Sorry, maxing them out. You're just gonna make it cost even more to max out a character. So I keep coming back to this because people need to understand this game is a scam. For daily stuff, it's pretty enjoyable, pretty easy. You log in for like 20 minutes, I don't know, do your quests or whatever, do your I don't know, your blitzing for your desolate lands, for ritual miracle, whatever you need to do. And until there's an event, you really don't have anything to do because there's no other espers to collect. While that may be the case, that is fine, the amount of progress that I get now is so minuscule that I probably like could not log in for a week and it would be like very close to the same as if I logged in every single day for a week. This is without events. Again, just doing normal stuff. So, um, quests, doing the missions or whatever they're called, where you can get blitz tokens and you can get a ton of resources from there, and also so you unlock story stuff for your heroes, like some more lore behind them. So, like doing all the daily stuff, like yeah, it's fun, but tell me that after playing the game for a year, and tell me that it's still fun doing the same goddamn fucking thing for a year and still not getting any progress. Like the amount of progress is so minuscule that it literally does not matter. And the gold records are so diluted at this point with the whole 50-50 divinate that it's not even worth it to grind gold records unless you're getting upwards of more than 50. Because again, if people actually did the research like the content creators, they would understand that the 50-50 draw, the coin toss draw, is a lot different than what it seems, which is just a 50-50. It is a 50-50 for each single draw, but when you get to the 10 draws, when you get to a massive draw count, it changes a lot. And it also changes at a specific point, and this is the 50 mark. Why do I say this? Is because there is the intrinsic probability and then there is the set probability. So the intrinsic probability is what is happening at the current moment, I believe. So, and that is dependent on everything that is happening before. So it's very hard to calculate that probability with the 50-50 because it's not always in the middle. It's not always a 50-50. Sometimes it's a head, sometimes it's a tail. And that is where the problem comes in. This gotcha game in itself is flawed now because how they installed the divinates. And that is the biggest problem. Also, they decreased the amount of channels. And people didn't realize this, but yeah, they merged channels because they don't have enough money to keep those servers going. And which is why I said it's a good thing that people are still playing the game, but people aren't paying as much money because it is costing them money to keep up the servers, which in turn they have to start allocating players to servers that already have players on them so that they can try and minimize the amount of money that they're spending to keep these servers up. And I say this is a good thing because it's gonna, well, it's a good and a bad thing. See, for most companies, I would think they would take the logical choice and fire their marketers who are obviously doing the most horrible job of keeping the company alive, just at a standpoint from a CEO, like, oh, give them a chance. It's been 7 updates. At this point, I would just fire whoever is your marketer because they obviously don't know what the hell they're doing. Whatever they're doing is the old gotcha game standard. And it's not going to work when people don't want to be scammed anymore. Like, we want games that are worth our time. So it just comes back to that point. Like, if people don't understand that the game is dying, it is slowly dying. I love the game. I'm still playing the game, even though like I've made multiple videos of deleting it, saying that it's a horrible game. It's dying. There are multiple nails in the coffin. It is dying, and it's becoming worse. Like you could obviously tell. Like the contract ended with Markiplier. They probably could have continued it if they ended up making the game better and ended up getting enough revenue to continue it. Because Markiplier probably does not give a flying about Dislyte. He was just trying to make money. That is it. And I'm not mad or anything about him for doing that. He's a YouTuber that has already made billions of dollars probably. So having Dislyte as a company that is profiting off of his image It's probably just a little bonus cash and also him helping out in the game. The problem is that the game, like if Markiplier continued now, it would be a problem for his image because he's supporting a game that does not listen to their player base. So the fact that he quit is actually very good because that in its fat. Well, I don't think he quit. I think it was just the end of the contract. If he continued, it'd be bad. But he just left it at that. And I don't think he actually cares about this. I don't think he knows what's going on with Dislyte. If he did, he probably actively had canceled the contract way before. But again, it's a contract, so there's a lot of caveats to that, like canceling fees and terms. So there's nothing wrong with him being on the game, but the problem is that now he's gone, and that actually brought in a lot of people. I don't think how important that was. I don't think Dislight realizes how important that was. It was a big thing for Dislight. Um, yeah, I mean it's not the reason why I joined. I was just surprised that Markiplier was here. But yeah, I mean Dislight, like y'all had such a good thing going on, and you had to ruin it. Whoever your marketer is, they killed your game. It's not even the developers at this point. It's whoever is your marketer, whoever decides how the game is going to work financially, they are screwing your company solely, or whatever group that is. They are screwing your company solely because they are only focused on making money. And maybe that's just your whole company paradigm. And if it is, you should change that instantly because that is a horrible money making business. Especially now that people are realizing don't spend your money on things that seem like a cop because eventually people are going to review it and then you're going to realize, oh, it was a scam all along. So why should I even play it? So, yeah, that is why I exist as a channel. I'm here to bring y'all content that actively tells you whether a game is worth your time or not. And people always argue with me, and I try and take the logical and, you know, I try and speak with them. I try and have conversations. Yes, you can call it argument, whatever you want. I try and have a conversation to see their side of point. And there's not really two sides to this game. It's just the developers not listening, making their own marketing choices that is we need money, so let's prioritize making money. Whereas the player base is like, no, we don't want content that is just pay to get. We want content that is free, that is accessible to everybody, and that is easily grindable so that people aren't spending years getting a single goddamn character. That's what the fucking shimmers are. They're characters that you could spend years playing this game if it even lasts that long. I mean, people have been playing for almost 2 years. So that in itself just goes to show you that, and those people don't have shimmers. They have the epic shimmers, yeah, but they don't have the fucking legendary shimmers. I've been playing for almost a year. Has it been a year? Almost for 2 years. I think a year and almost a year and a half now. Because I started a little bit after the global launch of Dislyte. But I have two shimmers, so legendary shimmers. I have Cecilia and Jane Jilu, which is really cool. But I don't even use them because even at R0, those espers are complete trash. I'm sorry, but they are. You can use them in certain contents, but they're very niche, and unless you have other espers to back them up, to revive them or do whatever, they're not super useful. Also, you need to get skills up into Cecilia for her to rotate properly. Like, it just goes into this whole thing where it's like, what is the point of playing these characters? Even if you do get them, because only specific ones work at R0. So, like, you got Anna, you got Raven, you got Toland, you got freaking Shu, like all these espers, Trevor, Sean Pin. They work at R0 because that is how they work. At a higher resonances, they're just completely broken and should have never been released because that is honestly one of the downfalls of the game. Is the fact that they're focusing a lot on their shimmers when they give players no shimmers. They give you shimmer records and they're trying to change this with the update, but it's still not enough. I mean, giving the top like 3 players shimmer records and then some shimmer shards for all the other players is not going to break it. I like that they're changing the amount of rewards, but they're still on this whole point where they're like, how can we make it so that these players still have to grind? I don't understand why players think that the grind is very important for the game. In fact, it is one of the reasons why games die. It's because the grinds are way too fucking long, and especially when you get to late game. And creators always try and skimp over this. And I think that's a problem because that is the one thing that makes or breaks the game, how long the grind is. And most companies try and make that years, which should not be the case for their games, especially starting out. You should be able to complete the game within a year if the game has only been out for a year. Like that far and simple, especially if the game is not like the best game on the market right now and is releasing content 24/7. Like that is just a necessity for a game to succeed at this point, not just because people are tired of having to sign in every day to get minimal progress on their account that will eventually do something in like a few weeks or a month. People want it now. They want it fast, and that is the problem with the gacha industry. It's too slow. They're making it too slow to the point where it's not worth it for the average player because they are not going to spend thousands of dollars on your game. They're going to play like normally. So for those players, I encourage them, even if you love gacha, completely quit it because that's the only way to teach the companies. That's the only way to teach these companies that if you don't fucking listen to us, then we won't pay you money. We will actively make sure that you die as a company and you will never make money because we despise your business tactics. And that is just what is going to happen. It is slowly happening. It's happening with Mech Arena. It's happening with Dislyte. It's happening with all gotcha games just in general. It's happening with Honkai Star Rail. Or actually, not that one. Genshin Impact. Because Honkai Star Rail is making more money than Genshin Impact, and it's making people upset. And to that, I say, well, it's your fucking fault for being a sheep to visuals, not doing your own research, not waiting for the game to actually be on the market for a while and people make reviews. I mean, yeah, it is a bit of an old game, but I would say before you even start a game at this point, just because of all the shit that companies pull throughout their lifetime of building a game, and also the fact that they ruin games really fast or just like games in general, they try and lure you in with really fast progress at the beginning, but it slows down so much at the end. That is the problem. That is literally the main issue with gacha gaming as a whole is the fact that developers think that by slowing down content it will incentivize people to spend money. No, not anymore. We understand that even if we do that, as long as we're not spending tens of thousands of dollars, we're not going to be anywhere near the top or progressing as much as other players. And it just goes to show that the gacha gaming industry needs to change this. Yes, there are games that are fair at it. And I would say that Dislyte is fair progress until you hit level 60. And that's what I'm saying. They always make a fucking paywall. Why? Why does there need to be a paywall? And, most developers would say, well, at one point we ask ourselves, how far should we let players go before they have to, you know, pay? Why is that a question that always comes up? That shouldn't be the thing of a game. If you want people to pay for your game, you should just make it cost money from the beginning so that in-app purchases become optional and then you paid for the game and it'll be an amazing experience from there on out. If you're trying to incentivize people to spend money and that you need to spend money on a game that is literally labeled as free to play, which is literally 100% of the gacha gaming industry, that in itself is a flawed idea. The game itself will die because within 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years, something like that, less than 10 years for sure. Most gacha gaming games don't last that long because again, they don't get any support. The support that they get is here. Let's release content that is new, that is cool, that is fresh, but you still have to pay to get it, unless you're like one of the oldest players and have already everything in the game and have enough resources to get everything for free. That is what most content creators are anyway. Of course, they don't have everything in the game, but they have enough resources and have a maxed out account to the point where they can get everything. And they're like, oh, yeah, this is free to play. Get. No, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, Zoxus-kun. I'm sorry, Daddy Free to Play. I'm sorry, DJs. 100 Wish Stones for a fucking Esper is not free to play. You have to be at least level 60 for that to be true. And why is that? Because grinding for Wish Stones, actually, now I would say you have to be like level 70, 80 even, because the Divinates have ruined that. Especially for early players, because drawing less than 50 gold records at a time from the draw will put you, unless you're super lucky, in the disposition of getting more Divinates than Espers just because of how the coin toss, the 50-50 works. Again, that's why I encourage YouTubers to take fucking math classes because they sound like retards when they make content like this and they're like, nope, no, it's actually 2%. Nah, you're just fucking retarded and don't understand math. It's literally that simple. Do your own research, become educated, become the best version of yourself before you try and push yourself out there. Because when you do that and you make mistakes, which I'm fine with because we're all human, it makes you look stupid. But then when you try and defend yourself, it makes it even worse because then it just goes to show that you don't actually care about the truth, you just care about the views. And that is not what that is not my priority for this channel. My priority for this channel is to bring y'all content that is fun, that is engaging, and that is truthful. And the truthful is the main priority because integrity is one of the most important things of a channel. If you don't have integrity to the sole purpose of it, that's mainly why a ton of YouTubers just, even if they are super successful at first, are dying. Take for example Sniper Wolf. She was not anywhere like she I mean she has horrible content. I don't know why people watch her videos in the first place. Like just reaction videos in general is some of the stupidest shit that people get money for that I think should just die as a whole. Like it never should have been made. It was only here because of COVID and it should just die because and I know people are going to be like yelling at me or slandering me like, "Oh, what about all the content creators who actually came out of that?" Well, I say all they cared about was money. They made videos to make money. I'm trying to make an informative YouTube channel that actually gives y'all information on what games are worth your while, what games are free to play friendly till the end. Because that is what a game should be, free to play friendly till the end. You shouldn't be required to spend a single dime on a game on a mobile industry and still enjoy yourself and progress pretty adequately. Problem is that not a single fucking gotcha game has done this so far. And I will rest my case there because you cannot tell me that somebody at level 90 is feeling the same progress they felt at the beginning. And I know people are going to be like, well, they shouldn't. And I'm like, why? What, like, are y'all imprisoned by this whole thing that gotcha games should slow down eventually? Their progress should slow down? I say it should be the complete fucking opposite. And most people say, well, that is true. And I say, yes, you get more content, but it just distracts you from the fact that you don't got these characters maxed out. Like, yeah, the weapons are cool. Yeah, the gear's cool. Yeah, doing tower stuff. Yeah, doing PvP content is fun just in general for gotcha games. But it really, like, you play those contents and then you realize, oh, I can't push further because, again, I don't have all these fucking characters maxed out. I don't got all this money to just waste. I don't got more money than I've ever had in my life. I've never had more than like 3K at once. Like I've never had more than $3,000 at once in my bank account. And that is sad as a 21-year-old, but it's just the reality of our our economy and everything. Like we just don't have enough money to spend that. And I think gotcha gaming needs to understand that. There is no way the average player will spend more than a couple $100s on a game. And I say that as someone who loves games. So even someone who's addicted and loves games, I generally do have a problem. It literally dictates my entire life, which is why I need money for therapy. But again, this economy is shit and I am not making any money. I've got mental problems that keep me indoors. Like I can show you a picture of my desk right now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16 bottles, 16 liters of pee in my room. I know that sounds kind of gross, but because I just cannot interact with people. Like I am just so done with people. And it's just everything that I've gone through in my life has added up to this and I can't stop it. I've tried. And I haven't tried therapy because I was always in that when I was a kid and it ended up making this psychological barrier in me that I hated therapy. I just hated it because it always felt like something was wrong with and there was something wrong with me. But I decided to feel like there was nothing wrong with me and I should just fight it and I shouldn't care. So therapy for me was just playing. And eventually I just quit because well, therapy wasn't really useful. It wasn't doing anything for me, and my parents saw that as well. And the problem with the reason why it wasn't doing anything for me is because I saw it as nobody should have that problem with them. Nobody should need therapy. But now, as I've grown as an adult, I've realized, I mean, as someone who was abused, whipped, and literally tortured as a child, I would understand now why I need therapy. But it's just the way it goes, and people can believe me or not. But yeah, it's happened. I was adopted when I was 9, and before that, I was in horrible foster home that put their entire family on a pedestal above my family. My brothers and sisters, because we didn't have a family; it was just us. Um, and I mean, I was a troublemaker, like, because I was fucked up since birth. Because like my parents, I mean, I could go into a whole life story. Basically, my mom was a drug addict and she had mental issues, so she never grew up, which I actually am seeing as a problem now. Just like I grew up pretty fast, just mentally, but it's slowed down to the point where now I feel like it is taking me longer. Like I feel like a late bloomer, just in general. But yeah, like because I was a troublemaker, like I would always get punished a lot. So I mean, the one reason why my ears are deformed is because they would literally carry me by my ears upstairs. There's a two-story house, or actually three stories. So they would carry me up the stairs, but usually from the second floor. So that's all I remember is the last flight of stairs because it's really painful. But they would carry me from my ears. I mean, all Mexican child household, they just pull your ears. But this was drastic to the point where I was literally hanging from their arms, which is probably why I have really good upper arm strength, just because of the severity of it. But like I can show you all pictures of my ears. They're literally stretched, elongated, longer than they should be, and deformed because I was just a troublemaker. Like I had lots of problems as a child, and what am I trying to get with this? Am I just spilling my whole life at this point? So anyway, I got adopted at 9. My life changed. I was happy and life changed, but it hit me too fast. And that was the problem because I got stunned where I got secure with the fact that people were going to pay, feed, and basically take care of me. Now, at 9 years old, that's fine, but it was such a big mentality because before I was just in survival mode. Like, I was barely getting fed in that home. Like, it was a horrible foster home. I'm not going to lie. My siblings were leaving before because I mean, they were older. They're already like in high school. And at that point, I would have retaliated too. So they had to like kick out my sister, but really, she was probably glad she got kicked out. Same with like my older sisters, and then my older brother left really fast because he had some insane anger issues. Um, but yeah, it was just me and my brother, and then eventually we got adopted, and life was like instantly better. And I think that was the problem because after 9 years of just suffering, poverty, and just genuinely being in servant, like I felt like I was just a servant, honestly, in my entire life until I was 9, because that's all I did. I cleaned, I did chores for them, I massaged their feet, massaged, like massaging them was almost a regular because they saw me as someone who was there to basically piggyback, so I should work for being there, even though I was like, mind you, 4 years old when I first arrived at that foster home. So when I was 4, like basically my birthday, I think it was a few days afterwards, it was my birthday that we arrived at that house. I basically had no mother. My father came back sometimes. Like I don't have very many memories of my birth parents because again, they kind of just abandoned me. It was mostly my mother. My father was trying hard to keep us together, but he just couldn't. And then he got caught up in the Mexican cartel, which is what's happening now. Um, y'all don't have to believe me, but my sister went to go take pictures with him, and my God, like he just looks completely different to what he did before. And I mean, she was actually sent that picture by him because she couldn't bring anything to him since he was like, I don't know. It was weird. She had to take like 3 different cars, sit and wait at 3 different locations before she was able to actually go and see my dad. So that just in itself seems like he is in some pretty deep shit. But yeah, I've never talked to my father. Never. I think I talked to my mother when I was like 3 or 2 or whatever, like when I could barely speak. Because I do still have memories of Mexico. They're pretty vivid, and this is before I was 4. So I do have very clear, vivid memories of living in Mexico. iguanas pulling off their tail, it flicking around on the grill crate. I remember my dad and bringing him the car. I remember the giant red ants that they have in Mexico. I remember like the freaking monsoons we had before I was 4. Like I just had such vivid, clear memories, and they're all overshadowed by what happened to me between I was 4 and 9. And after that, it kind of like, because of such change just to like my daily life, I think it shocked me to the point where I didn't realize I didn't have to work as hard. And it just stuck with me. Like I've never really tried to put my sole genuine effort into something until like I reached high school, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna put my like I'm gonna get as good grades as high school because I wanted to go to a good college, and I ended up doing that. But it was definitely a struggle. And then high school, has its own thing like drugs, parties, alcohol, and yeah, like I basically, and the thing was, my parents, even my adopted parents, they try and give me as much space. And while I think that was amazing, I think towards the later end of my life, it would have been nicer if they actually helped me, because really it was just me spending money, making money, and just doing that. And in the party lifestyle of like a high school, like I had a lot of friends in high school. Like I was never really depressed after 9 because that was what I experienced before I was 9, just depression. So which just sucks, and I will explain that now. Because I didn't have depression as a teen, like a preteen, I don't actually know how to deal with it now, and that is why I'm stuck indoors, because I am depressed to even go outside to just do stuff, because I don't want to talk to people. Like I just don't want to interact with people. It just, like, I'm fine with it, but to me it just, I don't know why. Like I'm telling you, I need to go to a therapist and figure this out, but I can't. So yeah, if y'all want proof, I can show you pictures of my pee. And well, I mean, I can show you like a view of my room, but it's a pretty disgusting, horrendous situation. But again, that's not even my priority. Is not even cleaning my room. Like, why would that be my priority when I can barely feed myself? So yeah, and then like I kind of ranted on, but if that is my priority and I'm playing a game to just cope with life in general, just have fun, just to escape reality, why would I ever spend a dime on a game, especially if it is worse? Like if it's to the point where I'm just wasting money. So all right, I'm gonna end the video because I think I went too far into my life story. Anyway, thank you all for watching AOG Gaming here. If you're enjoying the content, please like and subscribe. Really shows your support, helps me out, keeps updating my content. 132 subscribers last time I check. We're going strong. Um, yeah, I don't know how monetization works on YouTube, but eventually when that happens, I can really start, like, not just making videos but editing videos, because all these videos are unedited. I just go straight forward. And I think I will continue doing that for my Patreon. Like, if eventually, not Patreon, I don't know, Twitch or whatever. Like, eventually, if I get big enough, so that people can watch videos there, just like straight up pure reaction. And on YouTube, well, I guess it'll be more short. And well, no, I guess I should still, I would still want to edit them, because that's really the only way people watch your videos, which is kind of sad. Like, people should watch content based on its integrity, and it's just like the content itself. Yeah, I just don't understand. So yeah, I mean, if Dislyte hired me as a marketer, I could fix the game in 2 weeks. 2 weeks is all, not even. It would probably take me a week to make the game the top gotcha game like that. But again, Dislyte doesn't care. So yeah, people are asking, is the game dying? Yes, it's dying. There were literally hundreds of channels. Yeah, and because the community shrunk, it's made the game much worse, and that is the main problem. They basically said "f you" to every free player, and they keep saying, "Oh no, it's getting better." No, you have to give us free fucking legendary espers, because every new update that you release this light, is gonna make it worse for free to play because they don't have the new Esper unless they are past a certain level to get the Wish Stones. And then again, I can go into the Wish Stones again. You don't give us enough fucking Wish Stones. Even me being level 90, I couldn't get Farah because now I have to save up for Mavis. And you could say, oh, that's just because it was your choice. No, I did like plus 300 draws to try and get Farah, and I didn't get a single fucking copy of her. And like, it's just I got the pity. Like, I didn't get a single legendary. I just got the pity. So it just goes to show that there is a lot of, like, maybe that was definitely bad RNG, but there is a lot of things in the game that are bad RNG. So yeah, I'm just like, y'all can take it with a grain of salt, my advice, but eventually it'll be worth a bar of gold, the weight of a bar of gold, because y'all will be realizing I was right. The games died because of this, and there's only one real way to fix them. Honestly, I wish I could create a gotcha game, because if I made a game, it would instantly be a 5-star gotcha game, because I would make it free to play accessible. Your progress would never stop. You could play for weeks and weeks and weeks, like just 24/7, barely moving from where you're playing, and the progress would just increase and increase. Because that is, in my opinion, a better gotcha game than one that slows down progress just to make money. Because it's not just the fact that it's slowing down progress, but it's the fact that you don't have fun, like when you're not getting new stuff in a game, unlocking new content is probably one of the best feelings that you can get when playing a game, or just getting like a really good character. This game has diluted that a lot because they're adding very good espers here and there. So now getting a good esper is like, oh, okay, good, I got a good esper. Getting a shimmer is now even better. The problem with that is getting shimmers is literally impossible unless you're top 400. So yeah, I mean, again, I could continue speaking, but it's just me continuing to push the videos. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.